hit record. And boy, I was just, I couldn't believe it. I forgot to hit record yesterday. And it's the second time in this month that I've forgotten to do that. And so I want to make sure that I'm hitting record. It says that it's preparing for Facebook. And we'll see what I need to see what's going on. Oh, I need to go live. Let me see. Okay. I can't talk and do this at the same time.
That's okay.
So that's why I'm quiet.
Okay, we're about to go to start.
Oh, we're about to go? Okay.
Yep.
Let me just hit live. Okay. Uh-oh, something went wrong.
Lillian McDermott Show.
Psychic abilities to do it. Hold on a second.
Bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn when life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good.
Normally we dance at this point, John.
If you're in need,
Okay. I'm bopping here. Don't worry.
Good.
I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who have been listening to the show for the last 7-8 years, or maybe you just tuned in yesterday for the first time, welcome back. But if this is the first time that you have stumbled upon the show, you are in for the treat of your life, because we get to speak with none other than John Edward. But before you do that, just know that this is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends on Facebook Live, because I think I did it. It took me a little bit of time this morning, but I think we are live. So you can tune in at Facebook Live at Lillian's radio show. And so today I am so excited because we have psychic medium John Edwards. Oh gosh, let me contain myself. I really am excited. I've been very calm up to this moment, but now it's time for me to share how excited I am. You know, because none of us really knows what happens when a person, I like to call ascend, but when they die. That's what most people call it. Have you ever contemplated what happens to our loved ones when they pass on? Have you ever wondered where they are, where they go? Are they around us? Well, I am so excited because from childhood, international best-selling author and psychic medium John Edward has had the honor for 30 years to interpret the people that have crossed over. And so I am excited because it's not just him helping people who have crossed over and interpret what they have to say to us or they want to say to us. He also was the first one in 2004. In 2000, John pioneered the psychic phenomena genre with his television program called Crossing Over, and with John Edward. And he also did crossover or cross country. And so he was the first one to really break into this genre. And I'm going to tell you right now, when I was growing up, there were so many misconceptions about people who had this gift, and it didn't go up when I was growing up. It went beyond that. I mean, they used to burn people like John Edward on the stake because we didn't understand. But we don't need to understand. We just need to be curious instead of critical. And so, since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that not only John Edward is here to do just that, but he's also giving away tickets to his Jacksonville show on February 3rd and on Tuesday, February 5th in Melbourne. So you just wait. I'll tell you what you have to do. But right now, I'm excited that John Edwards is here to share his wisdom with us. Welcome, John, to the Lillian McDermott radio show.
Thank you. That was an amazing introduction.
Oh,
I appreciate you, seriously. And I love the connection of being curious, not critical.
Oh, well, you know what? That's what I ask, because there are times that I will share on the show things that I know that 7 or 8 years ago, I would have completely dismissed and called me crazy. But I have learned a new truth, and I ask people that if it doesn't resonate, to just let it go. I don't need to, make people believe the way I do. This is my truth. And
right.
Now it's up to you to decide what your truth is. And so how did your truth begin, John, when you're going through this journey and perhaps maybe feeling a little different than everybody else?
Well, I started doing this work when I was 15 years old. My mom's side of the family had always been open to having psychics come to the house, and they would do everything from card readers to psychics to even seances, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really subscribed to the subject matter. My dad was a New York City police officer and a career military guy. Wasn't something that he was fond of. And although I was closer to my mom's side, I kind of respected my dad's viewpoint when it came to like my mom and my grandmother having psychics come over. So I was never allowed to be around it. It was a request from my father, like keep my son away from all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would make fun of them for doing it. Like I would tease my mom for having her tea leaves read or having her cards read. And, she used to tell me to stop being so judgmental. And I was like, no, I just think it's funny that you're going to sit with a stranger and they're going to look at like coffee grinds and, tell you your future.
Yeah.
So I came from a place of ignorance. I'll blame it on my youth.
Okay.
And then I had a reading with a local, actually now in Melbourne, Florida, Lydia Clark. She's the person who did my first reading. And she put me on my path. She actually blew my socks off. She gave me information that there's no way possible she would know.
Okay.
She validated things that were taking place in my life, but she told me that I had this ability and that I was going to change the way millions of people looked at her field and her subject matter.
And we are going to continue our conversation off the air at Lillian's radio show on Facebook and at whenyouneedafriend.com worldwide. We'll be right here waiting for you. Woo! I made it through that one. Okay. So here we go. So here, you know what? For some reason, I am looking at, I was told that I needed to do this on the live stream, but for some reason, it's not doing the live stream. It's saying it's streaming. Let me pause my recording. So for those of you who don't need to get all this, I'm recording. For those of you who are watching on Facebook Live, I want to see where you're from. This is an exciting day. John Edward is on the Lillian McDermott radio show, and we have a prize winner who's going to be coming on during the half, and John is going to see if they he's not going to see, he's going to feel. Here I am, I'm trying to talk in the language that I understand, but this is beyond the language I understand. So for those of you who are Maria, who's going to be coming later on, you need to think about anyone in your past who has passed generation. Can you set that up, John? Share with
Sure.
our listeners. Yeah, go ahead.
So anytime somebody goes for a reading, you want to have an open mind and you want to be objective, but it's imperative that you allow yourself to let anybody come through, meaning everybody has a hope and a desire, right? An expectation that maybe one or two people will come through because that's who we want to hear from. And then we have the things that we need to hear from them. But the reality is when a medium opens up, a legitimate medium, anybody whose past that you're connected to can come through. So if you have a coworker who just lost their mom, that person's mom could actually come through and dominate the session.
How do you know that, though? How does the person, oh, here we go.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show, where we are giving away 2 sets of tickets. We have for the, and I'll tell you where it's at. And February 3rd, it's at the Lexington Hotel Riverwalk. And that is on Sunday, February 3rd. And that event is from 2 to 4. So I'm giving, these are the yellow ones. The yellow tickets are for Jacksonville. And they're just giving 2 tickets. That's just a $200 value. And then the tickets for Melbourne are on Tuesday, which I'll be at that one, Tuesday at from 7 to 9 p.m. We will have the benefit of sharing the same space as John Edward. And for those of you who are going in there, you're going to experience something different and new. And John, I was going to say this in my intro, but I think you already talked about it. You, with your father's expression to you that you adopted about, or his beliefs that you adopted because you felt that you wanted to honor your father, which is, this is woo-woo. And when I was growing up, I was told that was of the devil because we're not supposed to know our future. We don't supposed to know anything like that. As you know, people were burned at the stake because they were different. And so with that in mind, it wasn't until I opened myself to the universe, a new truth in my life, no longer conforming to what I was taught as a child, but being curious about what else is out there that I was sheltered from because they didn't know what they didn't know. So you said that you received a reading from a woman named Lydia Carr. And so
Lydia Carr, who's in Melbourne, Florida now.
Yeah, Lydia Carr. I'd love to have her on the show. So let's talk about what happened to you at that moment.
What happened to me at that moment was I was confronted with reality. And, when you don't, I always say, I ask my audiences to not be cynical, be skeptical, and question everything. Great. And I think it's important to understand that when you're questioning something, and especially now, like in today's society, there's a lot of polarization and isolationism and whataboutism that's taking place. And I think in order for people to evolve through, whether it be the collective consciousness of what's taking place or in your own personal lives, you have to be a questioner. And if you're a questioner and you're asking all the questions, if you're asking why, you become wise. And I think that is my philosophy. I've always asked a lot of questions. So once I was confronted with reality by Lydia's reading, recognizing clear on that there's no way possible she could have known the things that she knew, I now had to say, something's going on here. And what I did was I immediately thought, well, she's a mind reader. She's reading my mind. Well, that lasted for about a week, only for a very short period of time, because she told me things that eventually started to happen. Well, you can't read information in someone's mind if it's not there.
Correct.
So now I needed to expand once again and say, there's something going on here. And I went down to the public library, and I was embarrassed to check the books out. And the books were under the occult section back in 1985.
Yes.
They were not new age, not metaphysical, not parapsychology, which sounds professional, occult. So I literally sat on the floor of the public library and I read every book that was available to me. And what I did was I remember sitting there going like, this isn't psychic. This is common sense. Like, this is not psychic. Well, what I had to do was recognize that I had been psychic my entire life. I did not see it as being a special ability, superpower, or gift. Yeah. It was just my, normal intuitive voice. So what I try to get people to recognize is that folks in my field will kind of come from the place of using the G word. And the G word to me might as well be the F word. and that is the word gift. When someone says, I have a gift in this field, I hear in my mind, I'm more special than someone else, or I'm more special than you.
Correct.
So for me, the true gift is the connection, and I'm just a phone. So when you have a great call with someone, like when you're so happy about the way the call went, you don't hang up the phone and look at your iPhone or your Android and go, oh my God, thank you so much, Samsung Galaxy. Like, you don't do that. You recognize that you're the conversation. You're the conversation.
Yeah.
And that conversation is the gift. I just use my ability to be able to do that.
You know, it's wonderful that you have acknowledged that it's an ability, that is a gift. It is a gift. And as you said, you know, people, there's many words like the word responsibility. We think of it as blame, shame, fault instead of ownership. We think of, blessing as good fortune instead of, blessing comes in all different sizes and shapes and wrapping paper. And so we have this shift that we need to take. How long did it take you to see that, yes, you did have a gift? And, one time I think of myself as this fluke. I was told at 7, I was not supposed to be much. I was not meant to, by my second grade teacher, that I would never amount to much. So nothing I ever did was special, right? And so I thought that anytime I did something special, it was a fluke. And I remember speaking to Radley Valentine. He was on my show, and I shared that with him. And during the break, he said, fluke, what a magical word. So gift, that could be a curse to some people, or the F word, like you said, is a beautiful, magical word that so many of us have misused. What can you say about that?
Right. Well, I think that when people tie their ego to it, they hide behind it, right?
Yeah.
So words can either be boundaries in a good way or in a negative way. So when I see that someone in this field positions themselves as being gifted and coming from that place, then I hear and feel the ego coming through it. And I think that you need to have enough ego when you do this work to do it, but anything more can kind of get in the way and mean that you can't be wrong. So I like to make sure that I let people know that I think, yes, in terms of humanity, we all have what could be our personal, gifts. I just kind of, on a professional level, remove the word when I'm teaching, because I like to make sure that people don't come from a place of ego, because a lot of people who do this work get attracted to it because they're looking to separate themselves. And I grew up in psychic fairs. So I sat in a room full of 30, 40, 50 psychics at a time. And I learned how never to be, because I remember recognizing these people were weird. You know what I'm saying? It just, I would come home and say to my mom, these people are more psychotic than psychic. And she would laugh. But I was serious. I remember thinking, I expected, when you think of when you think of a priest or a pastor or a minister, you define that in your mind of someone who's a man of God. And then you get confronted with recognizing that there could be female pastors. And now you go, oh, well, hold on a second. There could be a woman of God too, right? So then you have to expand that vernacular, and your paradigm has to shift. So all of a sudden I had to start shifting and say, well, there could be good people who work in the field and bad people who work in the field, in every field, whether it be police, lawyer, hairdresser. So then you have to look at the motivation of the person who's doing whatever it is that they're doing. And it doesn't matter if they're a psychic medium, a hairdresser, a massage therapist. It's that person's energy and intention. So I started to look very early on, who are the people that I'm resonating with and are coming from the same place that I am, and get this work in the same way, and who's using the work in order to take for themselves, whether it be for ego or financial gain. So I kind of separated myself very early on. I want to be with the people who want to teach and heal. I don't want to be with the people who are looking for the spotlight.
When you're talking, I'm identifying what you're saying as frequency. You're attracting your tribe because of who you are. And I said this yesterday. My mom used to always say, show me your friends and I'll show you, and I'll tell you who you are. And, like-mindedness. And I didn't like that that to me, I interpret it as you have to be hanging out with people that are much better. And that's how I interpreted it. Maybe she meant it in a totally different way, but interpretation is so crucial when it comes to communication. So how do you keep
100%.
how do you keep your ego in check? Because one could say, okay, this is my judgment. This person is weird. This person's not weird. But how do I keep my own ego in check? And what exercise do you go through, John, to make that connection with self?
So when I first started doing this, I was 15, very formative years. You know, when you're trying to find yourself, who you are ego-wise as well, on all different levels. And I remember probably, I don't know, 19, 20 years old, 18, I don't remember the year, but I was driving to a mall here on Long Island. And as I was driving to the mall, my friend asked me what I was doing this weekend. And I laughed and said, I'm doing what I'm doing every weekend, what I do every weekend. And I've been doing every weekend for the last 4 years. You know, I'm doing readings and I'm doing groups. And while you guys are hanging out in the parking lot, drinking beer and going to clubs and doing that, this is my life. This is what I do. This is what I'm, you know, what my calling is.
Yeah.
I said, sometimes I just wish I could be normal, you know, and it was like a 3-minute passing conversation going to Roosevelt Field Mall. Well, that night I had 11 people coming to me for a group reading at my house.
Wow.
And when I sat there that night when I sat there on the floor to give my explanation, nothing happened. And when I say nothing happened, I mean absolutely nothing happened. And it wasn't until 15 minutes into the nothing happening part that I was like, hello, like what's going on here? That they replayed for me as if I was sitting in the back seat, that conversation. And I refer to that moment as the humbling.
Yes.
Like, oh, you think this is about you. No, dude, this is not about you. This is about the people that we're sending to you. You're just getting in the way of it to help them. And that moment was probably one of the most pivotal moments for me, where I recognized this is not about you, not about you at all.
I love it.
And that was the moment. Yep, that was the moment.
John, that is an amazing moment because that can make or break you. There's a little move. I'm watching, my husband and I are watching our 2.5-year-old grandson, and he loves the movie Sing. And there is a little character of this tiny little mouse who sounds just like Frank Sinatra. Seth MacFarlane plays him. But he has such a huge ego that his ego ruins his talent. And so the fact that, you know, we talk about we're all vessels, and some people have huge vessels. And I always say it's so important to keep our vessel to a size of a thimble, because when we keep our vessel small, then little things will overflow us and create this joy. And it sounds like that's what you discovered at that moment. At that moment, you made the commitment to be a small little thimble.
I call it a shot glass. I call it shot glass ego, and I tell people all the time in all walks of life. I go, you need a shot glass of ego. I go, anything more than that is only going to make a mess.
I love it. I love it. Okay. For those of you who've been waiting on the side of your seats or trying to call 407-373-5959, we have 2 sets of tickets to give away. The first set's for Sunday, February 3rd at the Lexington Hotel Riverwalk. These are 2 tickets. Be the 10th caller or texter. Or if you are watching on Facebook Live, or if you're watching anywhere, or 10th caller or texter, 407-373-5959. And we're also giving away the Melbourne tickets. So you need to say if you're from Jacksonville or Melbourne. So here we go. We're going to continue our conversation at Lillian's radio show on Facebook Live and worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Here we go. The calls already started coming in. And so I am excited, John. I've never heard anyone identify with my thimble. You have a shot glass. I have a thimble.
Yeah. I call it shot glass ego. And I said, when people try to pour more than what you can hold in a shot glass, it just spills everywhere in your life.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And, you know, it's great that you learned that at such an early age, because you saved yourself a lot of trials and a lot of errors. And so it's good that you have, kept that at bay. So with that in mind, let's talk about readings and the different readings that we maybe might be open to in the future as we listen to you and say, okay, it all started with you with a reading with Lydia. Is it Lydia or Lida?
Mm-hmm.
Lydia. So with Lydia.
Lydia Carr.
Lydia Carr. And so Lydia probably is excited that I'm saying her name in Melbourne. So, so with that in mind, how do we know? And for those of you who have any questions for John, you're welcome to ask in the comment section, because right now we are in the middle of a break. So if you have any questions for John, I will ask him, because he is not on Facebook Live right now. He cannot even see it. He's on the phone. And for those of you who are expecting to see his beautiful, handsome face, you get the phone. That's it. So with that in mind, John, so how do we know that we are with someone we can trust? Because I've had some experiences that I did not feel were worth my time.
Okay, I love that. I mean, I hate the fact you have them, but I love the fact you just said that. I think that people have to look at this subject matter like you were looking at a surgeon, to be honest, because this person is going to be operating on you and going into your energy. And who do you want to have in your energy? I know I'm very, very particular about who I would let even massage me, like energy wise. Right. So like if I was going for massage, at a if you're at a spa or whatever it is, like I'm very, very, very aware. So you want to listen to what the person is actually saying. If you want to read their website, you want to hear what their words are. But more importantly, like you could tell by the way someone communicates. And if you're going to go see somebody, odds are there's going to be some type of YouTube video or some type of, aspect of who they, some type of something that you could objectively watch, because you could watch something and get a feeling from a person and they could be saying all the right things, but energy wise, you might go, like, I don't think this guy's for me, or I don't think this girl's for me. So I think if they're making it about the work, if they're making it about, what they do, I think that's a healthy thing. It's got to be the journey, not about stuff that you can't articulate or validate. Meaning, I believe in reincarnation and I believe in spirit guides. I believe that we've had multiple lives, and I believe that we have guides and energies that are not our family members and friends that help us navigate the classroom of life that we're here, teachers in the afterlife, however you want to call it. Mm-hmm. However, you're never going to hear me in a reading tell somebody who their guides are, and you're never going to hear me tell somebody what they were in a past life. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not possible. It's just not something I can validate, which means I'm now in a territory where you can't say I'm wrong. So once somebody goes into a territory that's safe like that, like, oh, I have an angel standing behind you, I'm gone. I'm done. I've just turned you right off. So, like, I need facts. Yeah, I need facts. I need evidence. And it doesn't mean that I don't believe in the angelic realm. It's just that I don't want to go all airy-fairy, woo-woo. Like, I want to be as grounded as possible. Maybe it's the combination of my mom and dad that come through with me. My dad being the cop military guy and my mom being the open psychic person.
I want facts. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but I don't like when I hear people say stuff like, "Oh, you have lots of angels all around you." Yeah. Like, I'm like, oh, come on. Like, seriously? Like, that's where you're going?
Yeah, I had this one psychic wanted to be on my show. And here we go. John, I don't know if you can hear me. This is where I talk about my show, and then I'll reintroduce you, okay?
Sure.
Okay.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show, where you could hear us worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. I'm your host, Lillian McDermott, and it is my goal that we go through life with curiosity, because the person in front of you is a teacher, because they know something you don't know. And so I want to encourage you to discover the things that perhaps maybe they're teaching you how to be, or how not to be. We're still teaching no matter what. We're also students. And so welcome to my classroom. This is where we learn and grow together. And I want to encourage you to continue the conversation at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is where we take personal ownership of our life. personal 100% ownership. And so how does that look like? Well, become a subscriber. And this is a totally free show that you get lots of gifts. Hey, by the way, be the 10th caller or texter. You keep trying, 407-373-5959, and you will get tickets, 2 tickets, one for the Jacksonville show on the 3rd on Sunday and on the 5th on Tuesday for Melbourne. And these tickets will be available. The 10th caller or texter for Jacksonville, the 10th caller or texter for Melbourne. And of course, if you want to learn more about where John Edward is going to be, you can go to johnedward.net. And that's where you find more tickets. If you want to come, if you don't win the tickets, you can get more tickets, because you know what? If you have the money, you can go see it. So today you get the opportunity, because you are listening to the Lillian McDermott radio show, to win these tickets. So go to whenyouneedafriend.com, subscribe, and when you do that, you get my 90-day challenge to self-love ebook. You'll also get lots of free gifts along the way, and you'll be the first one to know who's on the show before anybody else, and you get the audio version sent right to your phones or smartphones or tablets. Second, while you're there, click on to the YouTube channel. If you want to listen to the after the show, the on and off the air conversation, then you need to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that will send the YouTube video to your personal phones, tablets, smartphones, whatever it is that you like to watch the show. Then I ask that you click on to all my social media, follow me, like me, and that way you'll know when there's a Facebook Live. And so we can continue this conversation and grow with me, grow together, so that we can learn this new truth of personal ownership for our own life. No longer can you blame, shame, fault anyone into what your life is today. We own the key. Everything is given to us. And just like John is talking about today, we all have these talents, these gifts, that if we open ourselves up with curiosity and we consider the fact that we also have these gifts, then our life will be transformed. While you are at whenyouneedafriend.com, I ask that you go to my sponsors page, because this is a free show. But it could not happen without the generosity of my sponsors. So I ask that you go to my sponsorship page and check them out and support them the way they're supporting the show. Now, if you don't like Facebook and social media, you can go to podcasts. I'm on all the little podcasts that you can listen at your own discretion. And again, be the 10th caller for Melbourne, 10th caller for Jacksonville, and you will get free tickets. These are a $200 value to sit in the same space as John Edward. I am so excited about this, and I am looking forward to also sitting with John as I watch him create what was created, what was given to him by our Creator. And, you know, John, so grateful to you. Thank you for your generosity, for your time, for being here on the show and explaining some of the things off and on the air that, you know, we're curious about. Again, so you have shared so many different ways and how you've kept your ego at check. And we've talked off the air how to know if someone is using the gift incorrectly, because we all can abuse our gifts. We can all be abusers. But what's a telltale sign, if you want to share with our listening friends, what's a telltale sign that you just need to get up and go, walk away?
I don't know if there's just one. I think you have to go with you have to go with your gut instinct. I think you want to make sure that information is coming to you and the person's not asking you a ton of questions. Mm-hmm. And there's a difference, like there's lazy reading, and I say lazy reading is when you want to facilitate something, and sometimes I'll even use this when I'm doing like radio or TV live. I'll say, I'm feeling this, is your dad passed? And then that gives them the opportunity to say yes and expedite moving through the information. Yeah. But in a private session, I think, or in a group, you're going to hear me say, no, let me tell you. So I think the medium, the psychic, has to be the one to give you the information, not the one that's you providing the framework for them to color in the lines. So I think that's pretty important.
Yes. And so with that in mind, how do you, okay, so here we are. We want to be, we want to know a little bit about our loved ones and the ones that have passed who have ascended. And so we briefly talked about reincarnation and, you know, eternity is a long time. But what is that for us? Have the people that have crossed over shared with you a little bit more about the afterlife that you can share with us today?
So I love the question because it's the one that every publisher wants me to write a book about. And here's the reality. I can tell you that I've developed a sense, maybe an opinion, maybe a couple of theories about what the afterlife could be like based upon what I see. But I'm going to tell you that I don't feel comfortable saying, here's what it's like, or here's what they are. And the reason is this. It's coming from my recovering Catholic framework. It's coming from my understanding of what I see, hear, and feel from people that come through. And generally speaking, I think it's multidimensional. I think it depends upon how we evolve here in this lifetime, learning the lessons that we came in to learn. I don't know if we come back so quickly when it comes to reincarnation, although there have been case studies that show that people have come back or that there are some outliers. But I think my whole focus is I try to only validate what I can for the people that are here. So I want to show that there's a survival of consciousness and that our loved ones and friends who have crossed, and by the way, I love the fact that you don't like using the word died, because my background comes out of healthcare. And I remember first being on the floors of a hospital, and the nurse on the floor said to me, the patient I was looking for had expired. And I remember the moment standing in the hallway, and I looked at her and I was like, I had never heard that before. I said, excuse me? She said, yeah, you know, Mrs. So-and-so expired. And I went, milk expires, cheese expires. I go, people don't expire. And the woman looked at me like, all right, new guy, like, okay. So for me, I never liked the word expired. I never liked the word dead or died. I think transition, I like how you said ascended, because that's what it feels like we are ascending, and shift. But that's what I talk about. I talk about the people who have kind of shown me that since they're out of the physical world, how they're still tethered and connected. And, you know, right now you have listeners that are listening to you on Facebook Live, and then you have listeners that are listening to you on the radio, but then you have listeners that are listening to you on podcast. And there's all these different ways that they're tethered to you. So right now they're tethered to you through all these different matters and ways. I kind of feel like that's what it's like. You know, you're you and all these other people that are tethered to you, it's like they're in the afterlife and they're tethered to you and they come through and are connected to you in different ways. So I feel like energetically is how we're connected, and it's through love. Love is the thing that connects us. So here it's like social media, but there it's energy and love. So we're tied and bound by love. And I think that's the universal, like, elixir. That's the universal adhesive. That's the universal solution, communication and love. And when ego gets in the way of that, then it becomes, how am I going to box this, sell this, own this? And it's not something that you can, because it's something that just is.
I love that. I love your explanation. I think that that's very honoring, because, you know, many people on the show tell me, you know, you need to, you know, tell people what to do. And I say, no, I don't tell people what to do. I share information, and this is my truth. This is what I've learned, and this is the research I've done. I'm not good, because the moment I say this is what you need to do, then I'm no different than anybody else. And so we need to.
And then then they don't take responsibility for their actions.
Absolutely. Then they'll blame me. If it works out, great. And if it doesn't work out, then they'll blame me. And so I want everybody to take personal ownership. And for those of you who are taking ownership and you want to be the 10th caller or texter for the Jacksonville show, which is on February 3rd, and the Melbourne show on February 5th, which is a Tuesday, be the 10th caller or texter, and I will keep tabs of it. Now, you can also send me a private message on Lillian's radio show, because I want to make sure that you, for those of you who are watching at Facebook Live at Lillian's radio show, have the opportunity also to win these tickets. We have 4 tickets. 2 for Melbourne and 2 for Jacksonville. And I'm so excited that today we have John Edward, psychic medium. John Edward, for those of you who have never dabbled in psychic or the paranormal or the metaphysical or anything like that, you know who John Edward is, because I know John Edward. And we are going to continue our conversation at Lillian's radio show Off the Air and worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Okay, John, apparently we have Maria. Maria, can you say something? Can we hear you? So Maria apparently is waiting, but I don't see her. Just like you, I cannot see her. And so I tried to send her a message, but she is not responding. And hold on a second. So, wonderful. Okay, so here we go. I don't know what to do. So Maria, I need for you to go on Zoom. If you are listening to me, you need to go on Zoom and write this number down. 357-235-715. I'm going to repeat that number again, and you need to sign in, because if you're on the phone, you need to just go through Zoom, click on the link Ashley gave you, and enter the number of 357-235-715. And for those of you who are watching Facebook Live, if you want to enter those numbers on Zoom, whoever comes in first gets to do the reading with John Edward. And so Maria was so excited to be able to speak with you, John. And so we'll see if we can make this happen. I just don't know what I don't know, and I apologize. Let me see. Hold on a second. There's a more button. Nope. Let's see. John, I'm so sorry. I really wanted to have somebody get a reading from you, but it's not happening. So what do you suggest we do? Let's see. John, what do you suggest we do?
I don't know.
We'll keep talking.
How about we go to some of the people on Facebook Live? If they have questions, maybe I can answer them.
Okay, anybody on Facebook Live right now have any questions that you would like? There's an Autumn that put a happy face, or I don't know if that's a happy face or a sad face. Is Autumn sad or happy? I can't tell, but I'm glad that you're watching. I don't know. We have so many people. Okay, so Kim, you sent a message, a private message. Do you have a question for John Edward? And if you do, I will ask your question. So she's sent me a private message. And so we'll keep talking. How about that? Andre, how much time do we have left? Okay, 30 seconds. I kind of got that feel. So here we go. You know what? The more I trust my intuition, John, the happier I am.
Yep.
Now, do you hear audible?
I do. I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsentient. So I see, hear, and feel information and energy. So whatever it is that I see, hear, and feel, I share. And it's not like you see in the movies. You know, it's more like a thought voice, a feeling.
So let's talk about that on the air. Also, Maria apparently is on listening, but I can't find her, just like I couldn't get to you.
You can text
So
Lily.
here's what
Okay, so how about we do something really? How about we do something really, really fun?
Once again, here's Lillian.
Do it. Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow together. Today's teacher is John Edward, psychic medium of the show Crossing Over the world. I mean, he's internationally known, and I'm so grateful that he took the time to be on our show today to share his love and knowledge. So we have a caller. Her name is Maria, but I cannot get, she's listening to me right now. I am so sorry. I cannot see you, so I cannot promote you to attendee or panelist. So you may want to sign in again so that I can see you. Now, secondly, we can continue our conversation, but John, with his infinite wisdom, we want to have fun, right, John? So
we want to have fun. And I have an idea. Can she communicate with you via text? Like, can she write to you? Can you see that or no?
Well, I tried to text her. It's like everybody's listening. Let me see if I can. You know what? She did say something to me. She said she wanted to talk about her parents and grandparents. That's who she wanted.
Okay, so I'm going to say, if Maria can hear me, and this is, I'm going to treat this like I treated the University of Arizona experiment. When I was part of the University of Arizona, they did something called the silent sitter experience, where I wasn't able to see the person or hear the person, and I just had to be able to read. So I'm going to tell you what I'm feeling, and then she'll have to validate for you, and you could validate for me if this makes sense.
Okay.
I feel that for Maria, that there is a father figure energy that's passed. There's an R name in the family, either living or deceased. An R name to me would be like, Robert Richard Rose. There's an R name. It's their way of showing me like who they are, who they're connected to. It's a way of anchoring information, so to speak. And I feel like somebody passed from cancer. The type of cancer that they had, they must have had it twice, because I see it in two separate areas. And I feel like the month of July, or the 7th of a month, has some type of meaning, birthday or anniversary. And I believe that one of them lost a child. There's a younger brother. So one of the people lost a younger male. So either like a son, nephew, grandson. But I get symbolism like above to the side and below. So above, if you think above, it's just kind of like a placement. So like it's older, and below would be younger. And there's another Maria. So she must be named for somebody in the family, because I don't think that she's the only M. So can she validate any of that if she can hear us?
I don't know. You can text me at 407-373-5959, Maria, if you are listening right now, or if anybody wants to text me and share something and give me I don't know what to do at this point, because we were counting on having Maria, but you know what? It's all perfect. And so what I'll do is afterwards, John, I will send that information to you through Ashley.
Awesome.
I'll get this sent through. Is there anything else that you want to say to Maria?
No, I think somebody's one of three in the family, like one of three pregnancies, not including mom or dad. So I don't know if she's the only girl, or like the baby girl, the first girl, but something about that. But I feel like it's important to know that whoever the people are that are coming through are around her, are connected to her. There might be either somebody in her family is getting ready to make a shift or a move. I don't think it's just a house move. There's like a logistical move in some way that's coming up. And then I think that there's an A name, like Anna. There's an A name that seems to be connected as well.
Okay. So I am going to have her listen to this if she's not able to listen to today, and maybe she will post it in what she's been able to hear or see. So for those of you who are listening or just tuning in for the first time, we are giving away, you're listening to our teacher today is John Edward. He's psychic medium. And for those of you who would like to see him, he's going to be in Jacksonville on Sunday, February 3rd in Lexington Hotel Riverwalk. And that's, I won't give you all the details there other than it's going to be from 2 to 4 p.m. So make sure that when you win these tickets, you can make it to that time slot. It's from the doors open. It's general admission. Doors open at 1, but the show begins, or the time with John, because I don't see this as a show, John. And I'm
Nope, I don't either.
So I apologize.
It's one of the reasons why. No, I appreciate you said that. I actually refer to them as events, and I say to people all the time that a show where it seems like there's a performance and there's no performance involved.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, it's a classroom.
To experiencing what you share, because I really haven't experienced anything like this at this level. And so I'm excited to do that. And for those of you, be the 10th caller or texter, 407-373-5959. And that would be for Jacksonville. The event is on February 3rd, and on in Melbourne, 10th caller or texter, 407-373-5959. That is on Tuesday, February 5th, and the doors open at 6, And from 7 to 9, we get to share and be curious and open. And so, you know, John, you had said that the word curiosity instead of critical, consider that this is something that, you know, we all have gifts, we all have talents. To consider the fact that we all are able to do this, what can you say to someone who is skeptical and says, oh, I could never do something like this? What would you say to them?
I would say always be open, always be objective, question everything, and allow the universe to show you differently.
Love that. I love that. So what is a good recipe? A good recipe for sitting yourself and placing yourself in an open place? Because many of us are bombarded with noise. Many of us are bombarded with, you know, busyness, and we don't want to look somehow to that because maybe we feel alone, maybe we feel depressed, maybe we feel abandoned, and we don't want to look there. And in order for us to feel and open ourselves up, we must also experience all that other stuff too, or maybe that's not a proper.
So
go ahead.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna wrap this up by saying I think people need to create an environment around them, whether it be one wall or a room, if possible, that is their room of beauty, is the thing that's their own energy, something that makes them feel connected. It could be, you know, 3 photos of a place that you've been that when you look at the photos, it takes you there. So it centers you and balances you. People have those places that they've never been to but want to get to. Put that photo on your wall. Just something that gives you the opportunity to feel connected. And then slowly start to meditate. And meditation doesn't mean throw on a robe, sit in the lotus position and chant. Meditation means focus. So maybe it's listening to your favorite piece of opera. Maybe it's your favorite country and western singing. Maybe it's your favorite classical music. Maybe it's meditation music. There's any number of ways to kind of help appease your sight, your sound, and create a feeling. And you want to create ambiance. Everybody's watched a romantic comedy or a romantic love story, and there's always that scene that gets created with the mood lighting, and there's that softness that it creates a mood, so when you're watching it, you feel a certain way. Well, just like a horror movie has a mood, it creates an energy and makes you feel a certain way. So you want to actually create the ambiance. You want to create the mood. And you can do that simply by getting a blue light bulb, getting a green light bulb, setting the stage, lighting a candle, and becoming in the moment, even if it's for 30 seconds, every day, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and you build up. And I think creating your own sacred space is really important on that journey.
I love that. That's a great tip. And I want to encourage all of you to experience that moment where you get beyond yourself. And for those of you who would like to dip your toe and go to John Edwards' event, you can be the 10th caller or texter, or you can message me on Facebook Live at Lillian's Radio Show. And the tickets are the phone number, or you can private message me 407-373-5959. John, you have been an unbelievable, just a breath of fresh air. Sometimes when I
thank you so much.
Sometimes when I speak to people that are very gifted, and I'm going to use the word gift as in the purest sense of the word. Like you said earlier, you can get full of that gift, and instead of gratitude, that other G word, it's more like this entitlement. And I have not picked that up from you at all, and I'm so grateful to you for coming on the show today and your generosity. So I don't know if you can hear.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you in person.
Me too. And for those of you, you know what to do. We've got 30 seconds left, and we're going to talk a little bit after the show at Lillian's Radio Show. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Okay, so John, I have one question. Let's see. Okay, so Kim wants to know if you've ever been so wrong that you felt, who was I picking up, or what was going on?
I have been inaccurate, but not. I think I've been inaccurate, but I don't think I've been wrong. So like,
Okay.
I think there's a really big difference between it, because
I
I've
love
actually done readings. Well, because I trust the information 100%. So I feel like they are 100% accurate in their intention of coming through,
Uh-huh.
but I could screw it up in my interpretation.
Got it.
So I believe I could be wrong, but I don't believe they're wrong. So I take on the responsibility and say I'm screwing it somehow. But it's really important when you get information to recognize that it's interpretive.
Mhm.
So, I've had people who just refuse to listen to what's coming through because they don't want to hear from that person, or they don't think that that person would say that. And I kind of read in a factual manner. If you think about what I said, which I believe was from Maria, if you think about what I said, there wasn't a lot of feeling in that.
Mhm.
It was factual.
Yes.
I'm seeing this. This is what I'm saying. Because that helps to give her at least a sense of that's what was coming through. Oh, and by the way, it's all out of love, right? It is out of love. It's
Mhm.
like, hey, I'm just showing you that I'm around. So hopefully that helps.
Now, do you ever get messages like, does a loved one want to say something to the person who's ascended, want to
Right.
say
Yeah.
something?
Right past the validation part. Then we can get into the nuggets of what the lessons are. It's more about lessons and patterns for me than, love your hair. I like the new room color, because if you have the opportunity to make that kind of connection, like I'm looking at like, okay, like what's the message? Like, yeah, it's about love, and yeah, it's about connection, and yes, it has to be about validation, but it's also got to be about like, well, how is this going to leave this person better than I find them?
Mm. Well, let me ask you a question. This would be my personal question to you, because I love being full. And I'm not talking about just food. I'm talking about a spiritual food, like
Sure.
filled. And
I get it.
so I want to ask you, what's your favorite reading that it filled you to the point where it brought tears to your eyes, or that you felt so honored to be able to relay that message?
I can answer it in one word.
Mm-hmm.
Australia.
Australia. What happened in
So,
Australia? Do you mind sharing?
no, I will share this, and then I have to
Yes.
jump, but I will tell
Yes.
you that I've been traveling to Australia for 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And for 15 years, I have been met with people that are so appreciative of the style that I bring to what I do, how I do what I do,
Mm-hmm.
the understanding of what I do, and to be able to do this work, which is hard,
Yes.
for people who really, really appreciate it. It's a long journey to make. It's not easy time-wise. It's far from my family, but the level of appreciation and the fullness that I got. I spent 51 days in Australia last year,
Mm-hmm.
and when I came home, it was just the most. Honestly, I was so full of gratitude for the opportunity. I was in Tasmania. I was driving with my cousin, and as we're driving through Tasmania, we stopped at the only rest stop, like one of two rest stops, to get between two venues that I was going to. And I was recognized by a couple of people, and they were just not the people that you think that I would be recognized or stopped by. And I say that it was men. Guys stopped me. It wasn't like it wasn't a woman that stopped me. It was two guys that were there with their wives. But he genuinely stopped me and stopped me to say he appreciated what I do. He read my books and thank you for being the way that I am. And it was like that moment, and it had nothing to do with the reading, but it had everything to do with it. Yeah. So that moment. Now, have I had it here in the States? I have had it in the States, but not like that. I've had it in other places around the world. I think, unfortunately, the States have been, the States have become a little bit too, I don't even know what the word is. I don't even know what the word is. I guess Australia has so much of a community.
I think the word is desensitized. We've become, we focus on things that really don't matter, and the things that really matter, like, we take for granted.
Well, it's less substantive. It's more reality show based.
Yes.
I think everything is about, everything is about the social media entertainment and likes, and and somebody said, like, would you want to bring Crossing Over back? And I went, not really. And they're like, why? I said, well, I don't think Crossing Over would be successful today in the same way. And they said, well, why is that? And because I think people would find it boring based upon what's on TV today. I would love to be proven wrong. If I have the opportunity to do something else television-wise, and I would love to be able to do what I do in the way that I do it and have it be respected in the same way. But I don't know if that would happen, unless culturally things shifted in America.
Well, I am telling you right now, you have an open invitation. Anytime you want to come on the Lillian McDermott radio show, you are welcome. And so I want to thank you.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity.
I don't take this for granted at all. And I think I'm so grateful for the time with you. And I know that as well, my listeners, I'm going to take this show and hopefully everybody will want to learn more about this kind of special honor that we all have, that you've been able to cultivate and nurture, and that is very difficult and sometimes a thankless job. So well done, thy good and faithful servant. And I know you need to go, so I won't keep you any longer. And but thank you, and I'm looking forward to meeting you on February 5th.
Same here, Lillian. Same here, very much so. Have a good day. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
And thank you, everybody that's listening.
Thank you. And for those of you who are watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, please share this, like it, and make sure that for those of you who are curious about people's different special gifts, that you acknowledge and empower people to maybe be different, because we criticize what we don't understand, but it's wonderful when we consider and we are curious. So share this, like this, and help us grow the show. Thank you. I'm going to say goodbye for those of you who are on Facebook Live and on YouTube. We'll see you soon.